A couple is accused of abuse of foster children left in their care. Coming up, here from Kentucky State Police, who say there's a lot of evidence in this case and it was handed to the grand jury quickly.
A chase lands an Eastern Kentucky man and Western Kentucky escaped inmate back behind bars.
More rain moves in tomorrow, and it looks like snow will end out the work week. I'll have all those details right now at 6.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
A troubling case of abuse in Floyd County. Today we learned a grand jury indicted a pastor and his wife. Investigators believe children adopted by Thomas and Jennifer Stacy were abused for more than a decade. The indictment outlines not just physical abuse, but 4 counts of sexual abuse and 1 count of sodomy against Pastor Stacy. WYMT's Will Puckett talked with shocked community members who knew the couple.
Word is spreading quickly across social media of the charges the Stacys face.
I think they should put them in jail, lock them up, and throw away the key.
This community member, who did not want to be identified, lives just around the block from the church where Thomas Stacy is said to pastor. She cannot believe the indictment against the husband and wife.
I'm at the age where I can't have kids now. I've always wanted kids, and I see people mistreating their kids. That just burns me up. Can't stand it.
Kentucky State Police did an initial investigation and passed their findings almost immediately on to the grand jury, who indicted the pair the same day.
You know, sometimes these cases, you have to dig for evidence and pull it out of different places to find it. In this case, we were lucky, and the information was gave to us at an early stage and after the complaint was made.
Detectives are now sorting through a number of items, including a videotape of one of the alleged acts.
I'm not sure where the video was come, but we did obtain it.
In the indictment, investigators argue between 2008 and January of this year, the couple assaulted and abused children they adopted.
That's the devil. The devil. He shouldn't be in no church. He shouldn't be preaching, because that's the devil.
Leaving people to question the couple they came to know. In Floyd County, Will Puckett, WYMT Mountain News.
Police say at least 2 children are involved. We have also learned the couple worked for Mountain Comprehensive Care Center. Officials there say both were terminated immediately after the indictment came down late last week. They say the children in the couple's care were not adopted or fostered through MCCC. A multi-county chase lands an escaped inmate back behind bars. Daniel Bell ran off from work release in Western Kentucky Sunday. Then today, police in Floyd County caught up to him. Bell is from Paintsville originally. The chase started outside Prestonsburg and ended near the Johnson County line. WYMT's Emily Bennett is live from where it all started. Emily?
Steve, it all started here at the Double Quick in Allen just about 1:30. Now, someone called in a complaint about a car and sheriff deputies responded. Now, when they did, 2 people jumped out of the car saying the man inside, Daniel Bell, was pointing a gun at them, telling them to stay in the car. Bell then drove away, going north on US 23 towards Paintsville. And we got off of US 23 and went past Highlands Regional Hospital, ending back on US 23 outside of Paintsville. The whole chase lasting 30 minutes and going 30 miles. Floyd County Sheriff John Hunt says Bell was driving very dangerously, swerving in and out of his lane.
It started out about 100 miles an hour on US 23. It got down to 60 or 70 on US 23. And then when we got on the 2-lane road, most of the time it was within 60, 50 miles an hour in that range. Never, once we got on the 2-lane road, at times we were able to get in front of him and keep him boxed in, but it came too reckless and he got in front of us.
Now, in the car, there were some stolen guns, meth, and several $1,000s, along with several sets of car keys. Now, they did recover the truck that Bell stole after he escaped Sunday night. Now, there's a lot of moving pieces to the story, and I'll have more on that at 11. In Floyd County, Emily Bennett, WYMT Mountain News.
All right, sounds like a pretty wild day over there, Emily. Thank you very much. Now, you might remember we posted a story last night about thousands of dollars worth of stolen items being found in one community. Investigators told us many of those stolen items were from the Pink Elephant Gun and Pawn Shop in Prestonsburg. like the guns found with Bell. Now, deputies say security cameras at the business caught Billy Hall and Charles Hall in the act. They face receiving stolen property, among other charges. Investigators also found stolen motorcycles, chainsaws, and a stolen pickup truck. In Floyd County, another delay in the trial of two men charged in a murder case. In 2014, police say Floyd Jr. Sexton and John Tate Maggard worked together to kill Bill Russell. Sexton faces a murder charge. Police believe he was the gunman. Maggard faces complicity charges. Police also charged Jennifer Jernigan in the case. A new trial date is not set. A 25-year-old cold case finally has a break. Kristi Witcher went missing in Nancy, Kentucky and Pulaski County during the summer of 1993. 25 years later, her remains have finally been identified, bringing her family closer to answers. Grace Finnerman talked with investigators about the new developments.
In 1995, two hunters were walking in the wooded area you're seeing right now when they came across something they never would have expected. The remains of a dead body.
The perpetrator probably went up the road, turned around up there, and then disposed of the body.
Now, 25 years later, police have identified the remains as Kristi Witcher. She went missing in July 1993. No one's heard from her since.
It's been a long time since this case has been going on, and up until just this past Friday when we were notified, we didn't even have a name to associate with it, so we had no idea where to go.
But why are they finding this out now?
DNA's come a long way.
Detective Kundriff says there is new technology to help break down and extract the DNA. And Witcher's family pushed for authorities to continue their search.
Her family's DNA was compared to the remains that we have, and it came up as a positive match.
Kundriff says that the match is a pretty close one, 1 in 10 million. Now, Kundriff hopes to finally bring closure to Witcher's family.
Everything before this has been to try to get her identified, and now that we know that, now we can start working on, how she got here and what happened to her.
In Somerset, Grace Finerman, WYMT Mountain News.
While the investigation is still ongoing, Detective Sergeant Cundiff says Witcher was most likely the victim of a homicide. In Laurel County, London police are asking the public to be cautious near the Wellness Park because of a road collapse. The road to the park is shut down right now. Nearby ponds will be drained and repaired while the road is closed. The city will let the public know when it is back open.
All those clouds get out a little bit today, but now they're moving back in, and that's because more rain's on the way as we head into your Wednesday, sadly. Some of those areas that are already seeing those clouds, Interstate 75 over into Mount Vernon, seeing those mostly cloudy skies, but looking at a pretty nice sunset over into Jackson, seeing about those mid to upper 50s, so feeling pretty great out there. Don't get used to it though. Cooler air is on the way as the system moves in tomorrow. There's those clouds cleared out and now they're moving back in. Maybe even some stray rain chances back into parts of central Kentucky, maybe up along I-64. So we'll hang on to just a few rain chances tonight. We will stay mostly dry, but you'll want to keep that WYMT weather app handy as we head into the next few days because we're expecting a little bit of snow by the end of the week. But as for tonight, really just those mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures remain into about the low to mid 50s. So another warm night before cold air moves back into the mountains. We'll break down the timing and impacts of this next snowy system coming up in a little bit.
All right, thank you, Paige. It's another go-round with a bill supporters say will create a crime victim bill of rights. Marcis Law was signed into law 2 years ago and even ratified in a constitutional amendment, but the state's highest court struck it down. WYMT's Phil Pendleton is in Frankfort and breaks down the debate in the state Senate.
Marcis Law is named after a California case out of concern victims of crime were not being made aware of judicial proceedings or when convicted criminals were released. Now there's a movement to establish a crime victims bill of rights in Kentucky.
But those victims will have a voice that is protected in our Constitution, and they deserve that.
Westerfield says victims of crime should have the right to be present at proceedings and to know what's going on with people accused of crimes during all of the judicial process. But some lawmakers disagree on how all of this is being done or proposed.
Constitutional amendment quite simply puts the Constitution in conflict with itself.
But the Senate approved the amendment 31-6. Senator Reggie Thomas said his vote was in honor of Anita Franklin, whose son was murdered in Lexington.
She was a staunch and very active victim rights advocate in Lexington.
Marcis Law was passed by the General Assembly 2 years ago and signed into law by the governor. And then voters overwhelmingly approved this measure in a question on their ballots. But it was struck down by a Supreme Court decision. So what's to stop that from happening this year?
The fix to what was previously addressed by the Supreme Court was adding the entire amendment as part of the ballot question.
Some say this law is simply not needed.
People have a role in the justice system, but yet defer to the duly elected judges and prosecutors who we elect to make these decisions.
The bill now goes to the House. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
The bill also includes a provision that would require victims of crime to be notified if a person is pardoned or has his or her sentence commuted by a governor. A Kentucky House committee approved a bill to create a loan program to assist financially struggling rural hospitals. The bill is seen as a way to protect rural health care. Hospitals situated in counties with fewer than 50,000 people would be eligible for the loans. The State Economic Development Cabinet would administer the loan program. The bill will now be considered by the full House.
We'll see our high temperatures pretty early tomorrow. Cold snap by the end of the week and into the weekend, but heading into March looking a lot warmer. We'll talk about that cold snap and the potential for snow coming up.
But first, we'll tell you how one school is trying to lift the spirits of a student battling a brain tumor.
When you see